Boleh memang record. Amal, can you explain the performance measure used?
Yes, doktor.
Okay.
Mine punya macam kat bawah sikit. Sekejap.
Ni saya dah naik atas dah ni, nampak tak?
Nampak.
Okay.
Untuk saya punya ni, yang ni untuk performance matrix saya tak fokus on one paper sebab dia banyak paper kan, ada dia punya performance matrix dia. So yang first yang kita punya performance matrix yang diorang observe untuk saya punya research paper is dia punya clustering method. Sebab untuk saya punya data, nak collect data tu from sensors kan, dan sensors tu macam scattered merata kat field. So nak clusterkan the data semua tu memang kena ada method yang sesuai lah untuk ni. Dia ada banyak, dia ada k-means, ada isodata, lepas tu adalah several clustering method yang kita boleh apply algorithm dia dekat dalam Python. Tapi untuk yang ni yang quite famous untuk saya punya field ni, untuk saya punya research ni, k-means ada. Oh, saya tak beritahu dekat benchmark ada. Tak apa. Ada punya k-means.
The performance measure k-means, efficiency of k-means lah.
Efficiency of k-means clustering method. Sebab dia nak tahu clustering mana yang method clustering yang sesuai untuk ni, untuk my punya data.
Okay. Nanti maknanya kalau you compare with others, nanti you akan tengok
k-means.
K-means. Another one is kat sini trajectory planning. So planning ni ada terms dia ataupun in terms of
nama terms
shortest ke?
Trajectory je lah kot. Trajectory saja. Trajectory planning tu macam dah activity dia, macam kita nak planning kan dia.
Okay, kalau trajectory
drone trajectory.
Drone trajectory. Jadi kita nak pilih tu, kita measure tu apa? Distance?
Dia punya distance.
Distance lah, mana shortest distance.
Shortest distance, yes. The best displacement untuk kita lalu untuk dapatkan, untuk collect all the data daripada sensor.
Best pathway lah, okay.
So dia jadi distance doktor. Nanti saya edit.
Cuba tengok kalau terms dia adakah memang betul trajectory planning ataupun dia ada terms yang spesifik. Kita akan tengok distance ke, ataupun dia boleh elakkan apa tu, disturbance dia panggil apa?
Yang disturbance tu lain. Distance, saya rasa distance betul.
Distance okay. What about throughput value?
Throughput value ni kiranya macam data, sebab kalau untuk communication kan kita transmit data through wireless punya means. Sometimes kita dapat data tu mungkin ada disturbance semua. So if kita punya high throughput, kiranya data tu kita dapat disturbance-nya kurang. Kiranya kalau kita hantar communication means lah. So untuk saya punya ni memang kita akan tengok lah throughput value tu. Kita akan kalau kita punya method contoh macam clustering method tu semua atau user association semua memang dapat transmit data dengan laju, dengan complete data dia, so high throughput lah. So basically yang matrix kita throughput value.
Okay, throughput value dia ada dia punya value dia in terms of
dekat graph tu,
dekat graph.
Dekat
okay, dalam percentage pun
tak clear. Dalam percentage.
Dia
selalu throughput value dia ada range dia, cuma kalau nak senang kita buat dalam bentuk percentage lah, so senang nampak.
Percentage lah, maknanya kalau lagi tinggi percentage
lagi tinggi lagi bagus, betul.
What about user association pun adakah dia another method use juga?
User association ni dia macam dia lebih kepada, sebab untuk saya punya lepas kita clusterkan data tu, kita nak associatekan drone tu kepada sensor. So nak associatekan drone tu kepada sensor, dia ada banyak parameter kita kena take notice. Contoh macam data punya latency, ada lagging ke tak, and distance between drone dengan sensor. So itu banyak parameter kita ni.
Okay, lagging, latency semua lah. So aware of that terminologi dan podcast lah. Jadi bila kita compare tu, kita nak tengok, nak compare latency dengan apa tadi?
Latency dengan distance between drone dengan ni. Lepas tu kadang-kadang sebab drone kadang-kadang dia ada line of sight punya connection, ada non-line of sight. Contoh non-line of sight ni macam mungkin ada kadang-kadang ada bangunan ke, ada macam tu. Kalau line of sight kira memang tak ada apa-apa halangan macam tu.
Okay. So you know okay. So this is the benchmark and then value ni seperti dalam graph lah. So usually percentage over apa tadi? Over number of
yang ni percentage over number of UAV sebab ni dia apply banyak UAV.
Okay.
Lagi banyak UAV kita pakai, lagi tinggi lah throughput.
Yalah. Okay. Thank you, Amar.
Alright, thank you, Doktor.
Okay, good. Yang lain, siapa lagi next? Ellen, maybe? Nak explain yours? Tak ada Ellen.
Yes, Doctor. Yes, I'm here, Doctor.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Doctor. So, from the graphs, Doctor, from these two pictures that I showed here, actually, Doctor, this is in the green color graph is actually the output that we would obtain when we connect our circuit to an optical spectrum analyzer. So this spectrum analyzer, its function is for them to read the output that we are getting. And in order for us to determine whether the output is stable or not, we will set a bandwidth or a spectral range here. So it can either be 3 dB or 5 dB, depending on your own preferences. I think over here, the person who made this paper used 3 dB.
Okay.
And from using 3 dB, Doctor, we are supposed to calculate the number of peaks that fall within this range. Like one by one. Kena calculate. So the kertas ini, the
higher the better or?
Yes, Doctor, the higher the better because you know that it is more stable. So dekat sini, Doctor, this paper here, the numbers of peak that they were able to obtain was 164 peaks dalam 3 dB range ini.
Okay. So
come again, Doctor?
Ini 60 to 120 ni adalah the common.
Okay, Doctor. So the other one, Doctor, the third one here, actually, because I can only include one image in this Padlet, so there is another image whereby they will measure the stability to see over a long period of time, di mana over 1 hour, over 2 hours, whether you're able to produce the same output or not. Because if it's able to produce something that is even for a long time, then we can conclude that, okay, this laser is stable, but not only for a short period, it is stable for a long time. Something like that. And Doctor, the second graph here is actually what we get when we zoom into the green color graph. So when we magnify the graphs, here we are able to obtain the wavelength spacing as well as the something known as extinction ratio. Yeah, extinction ratio is like the width of the wavelength that we get. Hello, yes, can you hear? Hello, Doctor.
Hello.
Ya, Doctor. Doctor boleh dengar?
Dengar.
Okay. So, in order for you to show that your results is of better quality, you should be able to get something that is better than this 11 dB extinction ratio. So the thicker the wavelength is, the better the quality of the laser, something like that.
Okay. So
this is
will be sort of a benchmark lah. Benchmark quantity.
Benchmark, yeah, Doctor, betul, yeah.
Okay, good. And then if you want to compare with any previous researchers, you will base on this value,
Yes, like because there are a few other papers as well. Tapi we will find something that is more suited to the paper that the thesis that yang I nak buat, and from there we can see whether the result that I get is better or not. Oh, Doctor left the meeting.
Doctor left. Ellen lah. Pening sangat tadi. Dia left.
Alamak.
Hello?
Hello, Doctor.
Oh, saya putus
Ya. Yeah.
Oh, lah, saya dah start tak stable lah tu.
Dia suruh habis awal ni.
kita habiskan yang lain ni. Zaini, Laika, siapa?
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Yang lain ada nak komen apa-apa for your performance measure? Nak share apa-apa?
Kalau saya share saya pun boleh tak?
Okay.
Okay, so macam apa yang saya akan buat adalah there are several parameters ataupun several analysis yang saya kena buat in order to produce this PhD punya methods. So antara benda yang memang wajib untuk dibuat adalah first kali adalah ground truth survey. And then the second one adalah mathematical predictors, and then backscatter predictors, distribution prediction of analysis window, dan last kali adalah performance assessment of model performance. Right. So for ground truth tu, so memang kebiasaannya kita akan mengambil 75% for training, okay, in order to train the model, and then 25% sebagai testing
Okay.
Okay. And then antara benda yang kita analisis lagi adalah in term of slope, curvature, eastness and northness. Right. And then the other one adalah backscatter predictors, yang mana kita akan menggunakan Haralick Gray co-occurrence matrix GLCM, dan it depends juga pada analisis window size Maksud window size ni dia punya raster tu kan, sama ada kita nak analisis by 3x3 which is more high resolution, ataupun 9x9 ataupun 31x31. And then kebanyakan paper ataupun most paper yang saya baca dia menggunakan maximum entropy punya modeling software ni in order untuk dia buat habitat suitability model. And then last kali in order for assess the model for performance, so there are several values yang saya akan tengok lah dalam ni. So yang mana saya akan menggunakan ROC, which is the receiver operating characteristic curve, dan juga AUC, which is the area under the curve, in order to determine the model is it suitable ataupun adakah dia mengikut the same prediction as max entropy.
Okay. Okay, so yang bawah ni adalah the set values
Yes. So maksudnya the set values tu
indication.
Betul. Classification yang dah dibuat lah, memang dia dah classify siap-siap lah dalam tu. Which is kalau let's say more than 0.9 excellent, dan 0.8 very well, 0.7 satisfactory, dan below than 0.7 tu adalah poor, dia punya discriminative punya ability.
So kalau macam Zaini punya research ini, so you akan ada buat comparison dengan yang lain-lain ke ataupun dengan Nature ke?
First kali kita akan compare with yang in situ data lah, yang the first punya ground truth survey punya data tu. And then from that barulah kita compare dengan previous punya study. So there are several previous punya study, mungkin 5 or 6 years ago, and then kita akan compare lah. Contohnya ada certain orang ataupun certain researcher dia cakap kedalaman 24 meter tu masih ada lagi seagrass kat situ. But based on the 2021 ni, sekarang ni dah tak ada lah. Maksudnya tak ada seagrass lah. So
basically Zaini ni lebih kepada data collection and then analyze.
Yes, betul. And then predict future. Data collection, analyze, predict future.
Predict future tu kena based on the model lah. Model buat sendiri apa?
Model buat sendiri based on parameter yang available lah.
Okay, so model buat sendirilah. Okay, so that your contribution dengan okay. Thank you. Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Nak share lagi?
Saya. Me. My performance metric is that yang so far I found out yang from previous studies is the anti-freezing properties and dia punya tensile property lah. So untuk anti-freezing property tu, after immersion dalam glycerol tu dia kena sampai some appropriate dia dah immersion dalam appropriate time, so dia punya shape dengan water absorption tu kena remain same even before. Dia ada comparison lah, I will compare with previous study, and sama juga dengan dia punya tensile strength at fracture, so it should be around 1.24 MPa lah. This is based on what I've read. So the data tu macam yang presented in the table tu, in the graph.
Okay, very clear. Thank you, Zulaikha. Akhil, are you ready?
Excuse me, teacher. Yes, I am here. I am with you.
Okay,
yes,
since you're
but
not,
I have nothing. Just a few lines.
because you haven't.
Because yes.
Okay. It's okay, Akhil. So please do more literature review. Anis tak ada lagi. Okay, thank you, class. So I hope that you clear already what are the performance measures used by your colleagues in the same fields. So please aware on these values so that you can do further analysis later. Okay, so saya habiskan cepatlah yang lain-lain ni sebab line pun dah tak okay Okay. So kat mana tadi kita stop? Plus activity 4. Okay. Can you all see the slide?
Ya, boleh Data.
Okay, boleh So, okay, so validating one of the requirement ni saya dah cakap dah. And then, okay, it is essential to show how your results fits in with other works that has been done in your field. Okay, so that's why kita kena buat comparison, kita kena superimpose. Okay, for example, this one, the modified and the simple. So modified GA and simple GA. So how your proposed algorithm can further improvise the convergence, for example. Okay. Another aspect of making clear the contribution of your research is to draw out the implication of your findings. Okay, depending on the nature of your research, this will probably be related to, ini saya dah buat dah tadi kan? Technical professional practice dah. Okay, writing your discussion. Okay, moving forward, macam yang saya mention tadi lah, moving forward between the theory, between the other researchers, between what you have done and what you do, first part tu, kan saya kata first part tu kita propose something, kita measure. And then what has been done by you, what has been done by others, and then how dia complement. Okay, so 3 issues to be clearly differentiated. For example, use the first person to describe your findings. Tetapi dalam thesis sebenarnya my you ni tak digalakkan. The data show my you tu kita kalau boleh kita tak payah pakai Consistently use this to refer to your own research and refer to the previous research. Okay, this finding tu selalu refer pada kita lah. And then other researchers finding tu mention lah nama dia. Make reference to similarities or differences in approach findings. Okay, so this is how kita kena sebab kita nanti akan relate, we have to relate back to the previous researcher, so make sure dia punya reference tu kena sentiasa being referred to. Okay. Summarizing, so these are some of the words suggesting by some authors to how you want to summarize your result The result suggests and all these words you can choose Okay, and then another thing, ini semua selalunya penting sebab ini yang the examiners would like to know. What is the significance of your findings? Ini always kita nak tahu. So how to write significance of the study? Use your research problem as starting point. State how your research will contribute to the existing literature, to the body of knowledge. Okay, and then how will benefit society ataupun in that area, and then mention specific ni kalau katakan let's say macam Zaini tadi, you kata the area of Semenanjung ataupun Sabah Sarawak ke, ataupun you kata so you just mention ataupun the identified locations. So how your study will benefit to that location or that society, for example. And then indicate how your study may help future studies in the field as well. Okay, so maknanya based on your study, mungkin daripada study ini, you ni kita kena tahu the need to have a better apa orang kata actions untuk things like that lah, maknanya what is the next move. Okay, so saya mention sedikit sini mengenai K-chart. Hari tu kita buat K-chart, how the K-chart is a useful tools to relate the literature, the methodology and the analysis. Since we are talking about analysis, so kita relatekan dia dengan methodology. So how do we relate? Okay, sebelum ni you all dah buat methodology, so you already chose what your methodology should be. So kita relatekan methodology kita dengan the results that you will get. For example, so we talk about methodology. So methodology ni either theory, either experiment, simulation, survey. So let's say you decided on experiment as well as simulation. So experiment, you decided to do the lab test as well as the field test. Okay, and then you nak buat prototype, engineering prototype and so forth. And then what are you going to measure? So these are parts in methodology. You have decided based on lecture meeting 3. To the importance of methodology sebab kita nak tahu apa kita nak buat lah, what we want to do so that the data is useful to us. So kita dah identify macam tadi, kita dah tahu performance measure, apa benda yang kita nak measure. So in order to measure that, what are the methods used? Okay, so bila kita dah dapat di situ, so in results, we should have, ada yang panggil apa? Design parameters and performance parameters. Ada yang panggil dependent variable, independent variables. So what are the design parameters that you varies? What are the performance parameters that you measure? Okay, so PP associated with the output, DP under the corresponding. So apa yang kita nak tengok design. So let's say we said about buat macam tadi drone, drone that can have to cater large throughput and so forth. Jadi what are the parameters yang kita nak consider? Okay, macam sebagai contoh okay, ni saya mention engineering performance parameters and design parameters, social science, dependent variables and independent variables. So figure of merit, kita nak tengok trend, kita nak tengok pattern, we want to look at the reasons. So usually this is a performance parameters yang kita measure based on literature yang saya tanya tadi, and then kita nak varieskan the parameter values. So daripada situ kita boleh dapat what is the optimal design, for example. So it applies to all research. Either you do simulation, you do prototype, you do experiment and so forth. You have to have the performance measure, apa yang you nak measure, apa yang you nak vary, yang nak tengok the effect. Okay, so sebagai contoh, for the car previously that we discussed, nak tengok speed, in terms of fuel consumption. So you all nak tengok in terms of throughput, you all nak tengok in terms of stability. So identify that first. So what are the design parameters? So in terms of speed, so you varies this thing. Pressure, tire height, tire width, fuel consumption, you varies in terms of tire pressure, tire width. These are examples, simple examples. Okay, the importance of a results layer to define the expected results and how many of them, to set priorities and designation of results, to identify the possible analysis. Okay, so we will do comparative studies. So from this, itu yang saya tanya tadi, apa benchmark selalu buat pakai apa? Because kita nak buat nanti comparisons. Okay. I think itu sahaja kot. Dan these are some guidelines because sometimes benda ni yang kita akan this section will always be the one that we submitted to journal articles because it has results. Sebab kalau journal so mesti ada result baru kita boleh hantar kan. So usually this is the most important one because since it is a requirement, 2 scopus for PhD and 1 for master. So once we have the results, why don't we publish? Okay, jadi publish ni dia sama je lah. Macam saya dah explain masa buat literature gitu kan. Dia mesti ada introduction. Saya ada bagi ada example lah kalau buat review paper dengan research paper. So sama juga bila once kita dah dapat results, the introduction mesti ada. So the introductions are the one that tells us the story in the beginning of the research lah. Kita akan cerita sedikit daripada literature review yang kita buat tu to show the development. Where is your research? And then dekat situlah akan the introduction also have the filling gap tadi. Okay. And then how to organize ni usually because sometimes dekat sini yang kita boleh, since we have a lot of data, usually in these journals is the one that we can present as many result that we have. Sebab bila dalam thesis selalu kita akan pick up the sebab thesis pun ada maximum pages yang you kena hantar juga. So dekat if you submit to the findings, the one that you interested to hantar dekat mana-mana jurnal, kat sini kita boleh letak sebanyak, bukanlah sebanyak sangat sebab ada juga dia punya limit of number of pages, but then we can share the results in these journals based on the sections lah. Katakan you ubahkan certain parameters, so you nak tengok trend. And macam tadi kata tensile strength, and apa tadi? Yang Zulaikha punya tensile dengan apa ya tadi? Saya lupa dah.
Absorption.
Absorption dan sebagainya. So kat situ yang kat sini kita boleh present on the results. But please aware dekat journal papers punya submission pun still you need to have comparisons with other researchers as well. Bukan setakat present ours saja. Okay, so that's about it on analysis and discussions. Chapter 4 or sometimes chapter 4, 5, depends the way how you structure your thesis. So these are some of the references that I've been using. Any question?